Alright, so what we got right over here is my 130 RE rail. We are doing the full restoration procedure here from start to finish. So we're going to be doing the first three stages. You know, the first three stages, which are all the sanding stages, and then stages 4 and 5 are applying the paint. So anyway, before we get this restoration started, I want to give a huge shout out to Painted Horse Rail Productions for helping me to get this beast home. So huge shout out to Painted Horse Rail Productions for the recent meetup to catch NRFF, and also to help me get this beast home. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Alright, here we go. We got the fan turned on for air circulation. That way we're not breathing in the rust powder made during the sanding. And we're gonna go ahead and start off on stage 1, the initial rust removal. So before we do that, let's grab some sandpaper. There we go. Project pack. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get started here. And we're going to start off on this side of the rail. This is where the wiring would have been. Here we go. Initial rust removal. Now what we're going to do, you guys can see why I grabbed store bags, because now we're going to have to turn the rail so we can get it on its side. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these 2 store bags right here. And we're just going to grab the side of the rail like this, and then we're going to gently turn it over. So now the rail is on its side. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and start off by working on the head here. So once it gets to the point where you're towards where the wiring would have been for the joint, that's when you're going to want to switch to a hand sander. So anyway, let's go ahead and grab my hand sander real quick. Here we go. Here's the hand sander. When we get closer to the joint, it's also going to be used for when we get into tight spots. Anyway, here it goes. So now we're going to blow the dust. Now we're going to go ahead and take the hand sander right here, and we're going to go ahead and sand right around the head here. So also what you can do too is you can come over on this side if you have to. Or if you can too, you can take your power sander, you can go like this. So now, what we're going to do here is since the rail is on its side here, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do the web of the rail. So before we do that, let me show you where that is. This is your web right here. So what we are going to do is we're going to sand this down to stage 1, which is the initial rust removal. Since there's 3 stages of sanding that have to be done, because this rail is nearly 100 years old, it's got a lot of rust on it. So we are going to restore this beauty to what it would have looked like back in Dl&W days, and we're going to paint it in Lackawanna black. Here it goes. Alright, so now what we're going to do is so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of this, and then we're just going to cut the rest out, because this might take a while. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. So right now you guys are looking at the head of the rail, but actually you're looking at the side here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hand sand like this. And the goal is to try to take as much rust off as possible. I'm sure you guys can tell this is a difficult job to do when you're a rail restoration specialist. Look at all that rust that came off there, guys. That's just a single round. Look at all that rust that came off. That's insane how much rust is on that rail. Being nearly 100 years old. We don't know the exact time era, but it was made from 1925 to 1927. So this rail came off either from a 1925, 1926, or 1927 section. We're going to keep it up here. Wow, that already looks a whole lot better. And we haven't even we're not even halfway done. It's already looking a whole lot better. I am very impressed. So I just went and got that a little bit, just to make sure it's all nice and clean. So now what we're gonna do is, now that we got pretty much this whole side done, we're gonna turn the rail over So it's on its head. So now you can see that the rail itself is now on its head. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take my hand sander once again, and we're going to sand. So yes, I am actually going to hold on. I'm going to hold on to the rail. Put the sander on that bag there so it doesn't, that way it doesn't blow away when we need it. Wow, I didn't even expect this, guys. So I am revealing where the joint bars were. How about that? And also, too, if your sander can, you can also do it with the power sander. So we're going to go ahead and show you how that's done. So if you're like an all hands kind of guy, you know, a lot of people can do it in just hours with the hand sander, but here I can do it in just minutes with the power sander. So it looks as if here it didn't work out quite as I expected. So with the rail this size, you want to use a hand sander when it comes to doing this part right here. Now some parts you may or may not be able to get. Like in this case, this part here, I won't be able to get it because it's just gonna ruin my sanders. So we're not gonna worry about that. We just want to get it all, pretty much all the rust off. So there's another thing about these joint rails, is that they got these stubs right here for your track circuit, and it makes it even harder to be able to sand it. So what we're gonna do. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn the rail over. So we're going to just turn it around. So that's a pretty simple job. So you just take your rail and do this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip it. That way it's just like you had it before, but now you got another rusty side you got to work on. So now watch this. See how the rail has no mush around this part? It's going to make it a whole lot easier to sand it. Missed the spot. There we go. Now we can see it's a little off center here, so we're going to go ahead and center it. Just the way we want it. You want it nice and center. That way it's not wobbling all over your work surface. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sand this other part down. And it looks to me as if it's not that bad, surprisingly. Here we go. that'll be done. Alright, so you guys can see where we're at here. Pretty much all the rust is off the rail. So now we have a little bit more hand sanding left to do. So we're going to have to turn the rail back on its side again. Just this part's all that's left. It's got to be done. Looks a whole lot better. Now you guys can see I'm blowing the rust away from me, so that way I'm not accidentally breathing it in. So when you breathe too much of it in, it can get pretty bad, so. Alright guys, just gotta check something real quick. Here we go, we're all good. We're almost done here, guys. And now we're moving on to stage 3. So like if you're a rail restoration specialist like I am, you know, we split it into 5 stages. So there's 3 stages of sanding to get as much rust off it as possible. And then there's 2 painting stages. First painting stage, applying the primer, or in this case your first coat. And then the final stage is your second coat. There we go. So you guys can see why I do that. Is not only is that going to chip the paint, but it's also going to cause you some major damage if you don't notice it soon, because that's flaking, which could damage your project. So I got that all taken care of. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to stage 3, and then you got 2 painting stages. Really looking forward to this. We are almost done. So the painting stages will be in a separate video. All right. Stage 3 now begins. So what we're gonna do, this is the final part of our procedure. Now the rest of the rust is about to come off. Oh. Don't do what I just did. You guys see we got some fresh. Oh. You guys see we got some fresh sandpaper. There we go. All right, guys. Here comes stage 3. Alright, we got one more spot left we gotta get. So you guys see why I'm putting the rail like this, right? So what we're gonna do, put it just like that. So now we can go ahead and sand off this portion here. That's not gonna take long. So before I forget, we got a little sharp spot on there. You don't want that puncturing your sandpaper. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to take it right off. Bang, came right off. So what you want to do is you want to take those metal spots off, you know, those sharp little burrs from when they cut it. That way you're not puncturing your sandpaper when you go to do the final product. Look at that open hearth steel. That is hot rolled steel, open hearth cooling method. There we go. Pure 1920s steel right there. That is what we want right there. A beautiful piece like this should definitely be in the hands of a preservationist like myself. It's exactly why I'm doing this. And man, oh man, guys, I gotta say, it's a beauty. I never thought I'd get to show anything this beautiful that's just purebred Dl&W. And it's from an era never be forgotten. So, got one more little thing we gotta do. I'm going to show you how to do a side sanding procedure. Your side sanding procedure is a little different from your conventional because now we're doing this from the side. So we're just going to do over the bottom of it one more time. That was at stage 2 when we just did a little bit of it to see what it would look like. Now we're about to finish. Look at that. In a matter of just not even 30 minutes, we just got it done. There we go. So now, we're going to show you what the finished product, the semi-finished product looks like here. Shut the fan off for now. There it is right there. This is what your ready to paint product looks like. All the rust, pretty much all the rust had been removed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and give it a quick wipe down here, and then we're going to close out the video. So, grab my paper towel right here. Give it a quick wipe, get it ready for painting. And yes, we are painting this in Lackawanna black, because that's probably going to be the most accurate color for this piece of rail, since it is from the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western era. Man, look at all that stuff that just came off. All right. Here we go. Just under 30 minutes, just a little over 30 minutes. We just got this thing done. I can't believe it. A little over 30 minutes and we're done. Hope you guys enjoyed that right there. That is getting all the rust off a pure 1920s Dl&W era rail. 130 pounds per yard. We're going to go ahead and move on to the polishing procedure, getting the head started, and then we're going to polish it. See you in that video.